Hello Gemini, this is Joe, and I'm going to do a general tarot reading for the month of July 15th through the 31st. This is a general reading, and so it's an intuitive reading as well, and it's not going to be for everybody. It just possibly can't be. But if it's not for you, don't worry. You could always check back. There's always another reading on another day that may be meant for you, or check another channel or another time. So this is going to be just a general check-in, and we're going to see what's happening through the 15th through the 31st for you, and see what is going on around you. Okay, you have the Nine of Cups, the Magician, nice, the Hermit, and I'm only going to read uprights. I'm not going to read reversals in this reading. Okay, the Six of Cups, Ace of Swords, Empress. Wow. Gemini, you got some cool things going on. I'm going to make sure I get them all in here for you so you can see them all. But what is going on? This is interesting. Page of Coins, the Moon, the Lovers, and finally, okay, Nine of Wands. So Gemini, a lot of you have had to fight to get where you're at, and bottom of the deck, Seven of Wands. Like I said, a lot of this is shows me you've had to really fight and struggle to get where you're at. But it looks like the 15th through the 31st of July, you're in a pretty good place. So the overall kind of theme for this part of the month is the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups is really about quite often about wish fulfillment, you know, but I read the cards intuitively, and I think to me this is less about a complete wish fulfillment, but I feel like something's come through for many of you, or is going to come through for many of you, that maybe you thought wasn't going to materialize. And from the way I see it, I do feel like there is some kind of there's some kind of feeling here that there is a recommitment in a relationship, and that's really what I think is coming through. And I don't see this as I don't see this as being something that you're not expecting. I think you've been working on a relationship. If this resonates for you, you'll know it. I think you've really had to fight for somebody or something, and there may have been a point in time in your past, your very recent past, and maybe even over the last going back as far as the last year, you maybe have really had to fight for a relationship, for a person or a situation. The Magician is in your recent past, and so really the way I see the Magician in this is knowing exactly how to handle what has been kind of going on in your relationship with this person. I see this as knowing how to intuitively work with the person, how to intuitively deal with them, because you know there's certain things that maybe perhaps would cause your person to shut down or close down. And I see you kind of having learned how to not so much negotiate, but how to get in their energy space to try and work with them. Because I feel like some of you maybe have been dealing with somebody that's been a little bit closed off, and you may have had a relationship issue that that maybe brought a lot of discontentment. Like the person you were dealing with just really wasn't sure about the relationship. I think it's maybe because they weren't really sure about themselves. The person you were dealing with, the way I kind of am looking at things, they may have been very kind of closed off. They maybe felt like they weren't going to be able to continue the relationship because they were having some kind of personal, deeply personal struggle. And so I see the Nine of Cups as like finally seeing this come through for you. You've known how to kind of deal with your person. You've known how to kind of work with them to help them overcome whatever their big challenge was. Because I feel like the big challenge for you of lately has been helping them through their big challenge. And this may be somebody you have children with, or somebody that you want to have a family with. And I see this as like really trying to work with the person that you've been dealing with in a way that helps them to kind of spark their own healing. So I do feel like you've been dealing with somebody that has had a deep emotional and personal wound, and it's caused them to have a lot of I get it's not me, it's you. You know, it's that cliche saying that when somebody wants to distance or separate themselves from somebody, it's that saying, that cliche, it's not you, it's me. And it's that kind of feeling that somebody maybe is dealing with some depression, or they've been dealing with just a lot of uncertainty, depression, unhappiness, and maybe feeling a little bit hopeless. And it's not anything to do with you. It's just some healing and some things that they have been going through. And I see you kind of holding on to things in a very mature, responsible way, knowing how to really direct your energy, because I feel you feel very passionately towards this person, very devoted toward them. You have the Ace of Swords, and really at the root of things is, to me, this represents subconsciously you really knowing how to formulate and knowing how to approach your person in a way. And I get this sense it's like with kid gloves, to try and nurture them along. I see this as like the Hermit moving forward, really just allowing them to have some time to come into their own. And I see this as you kind of taking a step back, because intuitively you know that they're going to get to a point where they have achieved a level of healing and a level of progress that perhaps I think brings you two closer together, because you do have the Lovers here, and this is what you really want out of this situation. You really want that reconnection with your person. You really want to be able to come together with them. And you have the Moon in the external influences, and I see the Moon as being you know, the sun lights things during the day, and we can see everything that's illuminated. The Moon illuminates things, and sometimes we see shadows. We don't see the whole picture. And so I think that the Moon is maybe might be causing you to have a little bit of an overactive imagination, or maybe not so much that, but kind of peering into the corners and the shadows and the darkness, and having a little bit of worry and anxiety. But I think intuitively you know that your person is coming into their own. You really want to see them choose you. And I do feel like in this situation, this scenario, Gemini, that they do choose you. I think that the Page of Coins here is, I feel you know what to offer them as far as support. Emotional support, but not just that, but just you know how to nurture their health, their emotional health. And so I really see you as I almost feel like this is like a twin. So if you're dealing with a twin flame, or a twin soul, or a very deeply connected soulmate, I feel like you are committed to helping this person along and nurture them. And I see you kind of getting to that point at this in July, where you finally see progress coming through, and you do actually get to the point where you start to have a shift in the way you're dealing with this and looking at this, because you have the courage and the strength to get through. And I think you do. I think you eventually do overcome your obstacles with your person. And to me, this feels very, very much like a twin flame situation. And it feels very much like you're fighting for someone and you're fighting for them. And I feel this sense of devotion and maturity and responsibility on your part. And I do see this as overall in the outcome, that you know you're fighting the good fight. You're determined to see this through. And I do feel like, because to me this feels very much like a twin energy to me, or a very deep soulmate energy to me, that there is a continuation of your union, but that your person is going through a very difficult time. And once you kind of get through the big hurdle, the big hump, things do drastically improve, and that's just the way I see it. I'm going to pull a couple of cards here from the Light Seers by Chris Ann. I love this deck. If you actually want a chance to win this deck at the end of July, just let me know you're a subscriber and comment subscribe below. If you're not a subscriber and you want to win, just subscribe and let me know that you did, and I'll include you in the drawing for this, by the way. So we're going to look at a couple cards here and clarify some things, because I do feel like this is a very deep connection that you're dealing with. And to me, this reading is less about you and more about what you're doing for somebody to help somebody along. So let's see what we get here. All right. Okay. So you have the Hermit twice. So I think you know that you have to let your person kind of come into their own. I think you know that you're going to have to give them time. To me, the Hermit in this is signals their willingness to heal and their willingness to overcome some very deep rooted wounds from their past. And I think this is just something that you know that you have to be there and be a support for them. The Hermit comes out twice, and I think once for you and once for them. So to me, I see this as two people really focusing inward on themselves and the situation, and to bring out the best possible outcome for the highest good. And look at this, Ace of Cups, and this does bring a new a renewed passion, and I do believe it brings a new start in this relationship. I think it does bring some good things that that kind of take a turn of events for you, but it really determines what determines that is the willingness of each person to recognize their sovereignty and their role in your relationship, and to work together and kind of co-create the relationship and nurture it from there. So Gemini, I see this as a very very interesting reading. I wasn't expecting this to be any type of love reading or twin flame reading, but that's just the way it comes out. I'm going to pull one or two of these, and we're going to see if we can get a final message for you for the 15th to 31st of July. If we can get an overall message for Gemini, please. Okay. One more, please. So, very interesting. So this remainder of the month, you have Not For You and Come to the Edge. And I think this is really calling you to step out and really look at things from a different perspective, to be willing to take some risks. And I think this is really you taking, you might feel like you're taking a risk for your person. You might feel that you're really having to go the distance, but you know you're doing this out of love and compassion and devotion. The Not For You, to me, really isn't about this relationship. I feel like you have to know what role is yours and what role isn't when it comes to this relationship, because there may have been some codependency issues. And I think that this is really, to me, I feel like I see this as some kind of codependent connection that has to be worked out, and know which role is yours and which role is your person's, and how to really be independent. But to me, the bigger message here, most interesting, is Come to the Edge. I think it's Spirit is calling you to really step out of your comfort zone, go the distance, and be willing and open to new things, because you might be missing a perspective of your persons that maybe you haven't really seen before. And I think this is calling you just to be open to that, to really be willing to try some different things, or to look at things differently, to have a different perspective. And I think you very much have that going on with the Hermit showing up twice in here. So Gemini, this is your reading. If you're dealing with a twin flame or a twin soul, or a very deeply connected soulmate, and you've been going through some troubling times, this to me shows that there's some turn of events coming up. But I think that I say going in this, you already kind of know your role, but you're really learning that, and you're learning what you can and can't do for your person, and what they have to do on their own. But overall, I see this as a good ending, a good outcome down the road. That Ace of Cups shows up, and it really sparks a new beginning in this relationship for you. So Gemini, I'm going to end it here, and I'm going to say have a great rest of your day. Thank you.